I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. Shout out one time to Jay-Z. Today on Joint Elements, we take our focus and we look into the hustlers on the street, the street entrepreneurs. Rusty is going to be giving you that source. Super fact for the day. If you know hip-hop, you know that it's all about creating. It's all about empowering yourself, using your talent to get things moving. And if you have to bring it back home and you think of guys that are bulldogging the streets, Verb is just one of those guys. In a suit, murks it. Formal, murks it. Street game on another. Casper filling up the dome, filling up stadiums. That's what we talk about when we say you are a hustler. And that's what hip-hop is all about, being a hustler, self-creating stuff to empower and inspire the kids, yo. That's what's up. Go out there, get yours.
My name's Rusty. I'm a graffiti artist from Johannesburg, and we're in our graffiti store and gallery space, Grayscale Store and Gallery in Braamfontein, Johannesburg. Yeah, we're unique in that we're the only graffiti store in Johannesburg, and we sell the best spray paint on the market, which is Montana cans. It's basically myself and my two other crew members from the PCP crew. That's Curio, Angel, and myself. We've been doing graffiti together for numerous years, and we ended up coming across the Montana cans spray paint from Germany, which is made specifically for graffiti, and it was one of the first brands to really start pushing the quality of the spray paint and the color ranges and stuff. And we managed to come into a small amount of stock of it and literally started selling it out of the boot of our car. People would phone us and tell us what they wanted, and we'd meet them somewhere and sell it to them. After a couple of months of that, we managed to find a space in Braamfontein, Johannesburg. It was a little corner shop. We set up shop there, selling the spray paint and other books, magazines, and kind of graffiti-related paraphernalia. And we just slowly started. That was in 2007. We're now in 2017. So this year actually marks the 10-year anniversary of Grayscale. So we're really proud that we've managed to keep it going this long and grow. We literally did it. We had a piece of A4 paper and we wrote down tons and tons of names and kind of started whittling it down. And eventually Grayscale was just the one that kind of popped off the page the most. There's no particular meaning for it. It is kind of ironic in that we sell spray paint, which is a wide variety of colors, but we call it Grayscale. But it's also like within graffiti and that kind of culture, there's a lot of gray area. So it was just kind of playing on that a bit. But essentially, it was just the name that sounded the strongest to us, and we went with that and stuck with it. Yeah. The South African graffiti scene, I think, is doing really well. Johannesburg specifically, I can speak for that more than anywhere else. I think we've got a lot of growth happening here. And the guys that have been painting for a long time have really matured, and the stuff that they're doing is really great. So you're seeing bigger artworks and more artworks, and areas are starting to fill up. Areas around the city like Troyville and Jeppe and Newtown and Brixton, are starting to fill up with graffiti to the point where people are doing tours, and kind of big group tours of people coming to just look at the graffiti specifically. So I think it's growing. There's a bigger, wider acceptance for it of the general public as well, which is great. People are beginning to become educated about it and know that there's a lot more to it than just the tags and stuff that they don't really like. So yeah, I think it's definitely growing, and we see even around other smaller cities around South Africa as well. It's starting to pick up. We're getting online orders through our shop from places like PE and Bloom and stuff. So that's great. So I think it's on the up, and it's just we've got to keep building it. We've got to start getting more international guys to come here. We do a festival once a year, the City of Gold Urban Art Festival, where we invite a couple of international guys and do a lot of big moves around town with the local guys and the international guys, and really promote it as a mural form, and a constructive element in the city. So we're trying to do that more and more and get a bigger interest internationally about Johannesburg and the rest of South Africa. So I think we're moving in the right direction. Yeah. The train, geez, yeah, years ago. Actually, I can't even remember when, but these days I'm drawing for clients at 2 a.m. instead of out painting trains. It's a very grey area, the whole legal element of graffiti. Look, right now as it stands, if you get permission from the owner of the property, then it's all good, provided you're not doing anything highly offensive or something. But, so that's generally what we do, and that's why we find ourselves concentrated in the kind of the areas surrounding the city, like the Troyville, Jeppe, Brixton, those areas, because that's where you can kind of meet property owners directly, and a lot of them don't have money to actually paint their house, so they're really open to the graffiti and stuff. So, and you paint one wall and someone offers you another wall. So, it's Johannesburg. We're really blessed in that we have a lot of walls, and it is quite widely accepted, especially in those areas. But obviously, if you're out painting and bombing illegally, then it's illegal and stuff. But painting murals, as long as you've got someone's permission who owns the property, then it's generally all good. However, within the past couple of months, the DA has just managed to come into council in Johannesburg, and those that know about the Cape Town graffiti scene will know how the DA managed to implement a bylaw there that basically eradicated the graffiti in Cape Town. It used to be the mecca of South African graffiti. It's where it all started, and basically they passed this bylaw and went through and painted over everything, even pieces in the plane that had been there since the 80s got painted over, so we're hoping the same thing's not going to happen here, and we'll do everything we can to make sure that no bylaw that starts trying to control graffiti, in that way where it's very restricted and you have to get permission from council. The way we believe it, as long as you've got permission from the owner, that should be enough. You shouldn't have to get now permission from the council and show them what you want to paint. Graffiti is a very spontaneous thing, A lot of the times we don't know what we're going to paint until we actually get to the wall and see, okay, this is the wall we're dealing with, this is the colors we got, and this is what we paint. And part of the beauty is half of it happening on the wall. You can't now, 2 months in advance, find the wall, do the sketch, send it to the council, wait for them to get back to you. Who knows how long that could take. So we don't want that to happen, We just want to be appreciated for what we do in the city, and just be able to continue as we are, So basically, man, I've been doing graffiti for 17 years now, and for the first 10 years of that, I was obviously learning, but then I started doing it as my day-to-day life, my living. I was doing corporate work and commission stuff from big corporates to private individuals, and I was managing to survive and have a nice living doing graffiti. However, through graffiti, I also got introduced to tattooing. And it's always an art form that I've always been intrigued by and interested by since I was a kid. And some graffiti friends of mine in Cape Town were now tattooing, and it managed to open some doors for me that I actually was presented with an apprenticeship to tattoo, and I couldn't turn that down. So I took that opportunity, and I haven't looked back. I think so now I do tattoos as my living and as a passion, obviously, but graffiti has gone back to being a kind of a hobby. I don't have to make a living from it anymore, and I actually prefer that, because when I paint, I can paint for myself and not for a corporate or an ad agency. So graffiti or tattooing has allowed me to make a living doing what I love, and also give me the freedom to paint the graffiti that I want and when I want. And so I think the two feed off each other. Things I've learned in graffiti I've implemented in tattooing, and vice versa. And I'm of the belief that graffiti artists make the best tattoo artists. So it's something that is happening a lot all over the world. You see a lot of really good tattoo artists, and when you look back on their history, they actually started out doing graffiti. So it seems to be a common thing happening everywhere.